Welcome back to Steve's Guitar. So here's a quick video about tuning. Now beginners, tuning is probably one of the most difficult things that you have to get your head around. Now let's start with the thing that most people probably use. So you've almost certainly downloaded an app or have access to an app, and the tuners in those apps are actually pretty good. So here's an example. This is actually on my app, and this is supplied by a third party. It's from Guitar App, and I think that's a good tuner, mainly because as well as having the usual display, you can actually press these buttons and it gives you the note that you're aiming for, so you know what it should sound like, which I think is very useful. Now these apps are pretty accurate. One downside is they are using the microphone of your device, whether that's a phone or a tablet, and microphones are a little bit less accurate than the other type, which use vibration. So here's an example. This is a cheap one. What you do with these is you clip them onto your headstock, and they literally just clip on, and then you can angle it so you can see it. Switch it on, and it actually feels the vibration through the neck and the headstock, and that vibration has a certain frequency which it can recognize for each string. Now that isn't reading right, so I've probably got this set for a bass. This is one of the downsides to these, is one size fits all. So this will do bass, ukuleles, violins and everything else. So you have to make sure that it's saying guitar or chrono before you actually put it on and try and tune, otherwise you'll get into all kinds of trouble. But the idea is it sits there, you pluck a string, it recognizes the vibration, and when it's green you're in tune. Now these cheap ones, I call them, they're pretty good, they're pretty reliable. Just that one issue where you have to make sure it does say guitar on it. That costs between sort of £3 and £4 up to maybe about a tenner, depending upon where you buy them from. Take a battery, you can get rechargeable ones for a bit more money. Really good thing to keep in your guitar bag. At the other end of the scale, this is a Snark, which is exactly the same idea. It's probably the original. These are much more expensive, and to be fair, they are better built. The batteries last longer, you can get rechargeable ones, and they're much clearer. And also this one knows that I'm on a guitar, so as soon as I switch it on, let's turn that around so you can see it. It should, can't see the display, can you? But the idea is that it's same idea but slightly more accurate. They are marketed as the most accurate guitar tuner on the market, and I use them all the time. Very clear display. Unfortunately you can't see that, but it is a much clearer display than the other one. Now these will set you back between, well, they used to be about 25-30 quid. I've seen them for as little as a tenner. £15 seems to be about the going rate for the battery powered ones, and the rechargeable ones are about £20 to £25. And they are superior to the cheap ones, but the cheap ones will get your guitar into tune. There's also this kind of thing. Now I use this one a lot because it has more functions. So this one, larger, it clips on with the aid of an extension here, so you can use it on an acoustic without a pickup, which is handy because not all acoustics have pickups. With the clip attached, exactly the same idea. But also I can plug any guitar that has a pickup directly into the unit, and it's much more accurate that way. And that brings me to my last one, which is almost an antique now. So this is what electronic tuners used to look like back in the day, and that does have a microphone on it, and in all fairness, with the microphone it's not particularly accurate. It will always tune you too high. but you can plug into it. So if you've got an electroacoustic or electric guitar, plug in, and it's about as accurate as you're going to get. You can also go in and out, so you can leave this in line, so it can be up and running for the whole performance if you want. As I say, this is old. This is probably a 1980s, 1990s, and it's manual, so you have to select which string you want to tune. The later ones were automatic, self-detecting, so you just plug them in and away you went. So things have come a long way. That takes a 9-volt battery, which is okay, but those other ones just take a small button battery, which are really inexpensive. So this costs more to run, it's bigger, and if you're relying on the microphone, it's not as accurate. So really, for starting out, I'd recommend downloading an app. I'll put a link in the description to mine if you want to, it's free, or any app that you fancy. If you want to buy a clip-on tuner, these little ones are good. You know, they're inexpensive, they're pretty accurate. You will find if you tune with this and then try the app, you'll get a slight variation. And the same if I tune with this and then compare to this and then compare to the app, they're all slightly different, which is why the app having a button you can press to give you an example of what the string should sound like is really useful. But there's one other thing that I'm going to cover. Once you've got a string in tune, if you go to the 5th fret and fret that string, it becomes the next string. So that's the E and that's the A, but they're both A because I've got it fretted at the 5th, and it carries on down. So you can check your tuning that way. This is called relative tuning. Now when you get down to the 3rd string, you need to move over to the 4th. That's the only one, so that needs to be on the 4th fret. And then back onto the 5th. And that can be really handy sometimes. If you're tuning and you think you're a bit high, before you get down to this delicate E1, high E string, you can just check and see how it sounds, because you will break a few of those strings in your guitar career, I'm afraid. We all do it, and it is just all part of the process. So the next video will be how to change a string, but for now that's tuning pretty much covered off. If you've got any questions or anything to add, drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.